the ride, there's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail on. That's what you do, just sail on. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it for you. We just want you to feel nothing but pleasure. Musical pleasure. Yeah. Music is very real. Really real. Truly a treasure. Musical treasure. Come along, pack the bags, get on up and jam on. Come on and ride.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wild Funktasy. It's a podcast show on the internet. I'm your host, Joseph Stallion, and with me, my co-host, Saret. Say hi.
I
apologize for being kinda tired and bummed out today. We're recording this pretty late in where I am, and I had some pretty bad last few days. Like, I'm basically going to be moving out soon again, back to Poland. And I'm always anxious about it. I'm always really anxious when I'm going somewhere. Not a fan of traveling to places. And I sleep terribly. I have some monster insomnia right now. Like, it's super hot in where I am, so like late evening and at night is the only time where the temperature is just fine. So that's the only time where I have any desire to do anything. So that's usually like when I'm doing stuff and I can't sleep at nights, and because of that.
Oh man, sounds really not fun.
Yeah, it's super bad.
Really?
So that's my life. What's up with you?
Alright, so I was hiking home the other day and I thought of things. And so the first thing that I was thought about was Rick and Morty, as you do. And so that first episode of like the third season, it's all about that McDonald's Szechuan sauce, this and that McDonald's Szechuan sauce. And I was wondering, yeah, people always think about that, but like, why not legitimate original Chinese Szechuan sauce? That's like all over the Chinese restaurants. Couldn't people get their fill there? Or does it have to be the crappy fast food place? That was just something that came to me.
Yeah. Maybe like people trust fast food slightly more, like, you know, your local McDonald's and stuff. Like, I don't know the Chinese restaurant like they're a road away from me.
I don't know, I just feel like if you're gonna try and get like food that you're familiar with, you'd try and get like the more legitimate stuff from like the actual restaurant where they comes from instead of the fast food place. It just seems kind of funny. Like, the other thing I thought of before you get into like the big topic is how when it comes to podcasts and people say things and do things on podcasts, I always seem to qualify it in terms of how Leon, Austin, or Johnny it is. Like that thing that you said, that was a real Johnny expression. Or that was a real Austin goof up, and so on. Do you get that? How do you see things written podcasts? Do you have word funk vision in that way?
Kinda, but I feel like the more I listen to other podcasts, the more I realize that it's not the way things are. That's limiting.
Like, there's definitely probably differences, like huge swaths of personalities and things that people say that doesn't fit into those three people, but it just isn't really. I don't think I think about it that way at all.
Like we started like the first episode, our first episode we kind of speculated who is gonna be who, and I said I'm going to be Leon. But the more and more I feel like, no, that I'm not Leon at all.
I think you're Johnny.
Mm.
Super Johnny.
I feel like if we move out of word funk, if like we think about other people, I think I'm way more like Laura, but I don't know. It's maybe I want to be more like Laura rather than I actually am.
What I like wonder about is what's a Rillo T. All I can really think of that is that he's like cool and really funny, and that just sort of that's like an Austin or Johnny and Leon. It doesn't really Rillo T isn't really distinguished from any of those in that way, from like all that I've heard, which is just from Dice Funk. Even though he has his own show and does his own thing, and is probably distinct in that way.
Do you have anything else? Do you any other topics?
That's all I got.
I have a small one. It's just I want to quickly say a thing. There was this recent movie called War on the Planet of the Apes, and because of it, like the debates about whether actors like Andy Serkis who like do motion capture performance, whether they should get an Oscar or not, and like most people are kind of like saying that yeah they should. Here's what kind of like complicated and what a lot of those people don't realize. Like I didn't realize it myself until I did motion capture myself. Most people think that like motion capture is that an actor comes in, like they put a funny suit on him and like he acts, and they think that like once he has done the performance, it's like it just like this 3D model applies to him and with almost no changes. Like it's just a pure transition from acting to a character, a CGI character. What they don't realize is that the performance that an actor does is more like an elaborate reference for animators. Like animators just get a reference of sorts, and they do still a lot of job later. They just get like a more realistic reference to see like how muscles move and like how all the actions will have to look. So that's kind of it. That's all I have to say about that.
That's interesting. Did Andy Serkis do Golem? Was he that character?
Yeah, he was Golem,
Okay.
he was King Kong, he was on a lot of things. Like he is pretty much a pioneer of motion capture performance. He did so many of them. Like
Yeah, that sort of makes sense, since I think you or someone else said that you have to have something sort of humanoid to base drawings and art on, otherwise animation is kind of hard to do it just freeform. Would Andy Serkis or other CGI actors could they get an Oscar for voice acting? Was that not an Oscar?
well, there is no Oscar for voice acting. Yeah, like that's like I think there really should be more like more categories. Like you suggested. Like I think there should be an Oscar for voice acting, and I think there should be like
All go to DiMaggio.
for motion capture. Like I think a good name for like the category would be best assisted performance or something like this. Like the performance that many people like were responsible for, not just the actor. Okay, so do you want to jump into questions before we go into a big topic?
Yeah, so wait, let's talk about that. We got a big topic on Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. We're gonna talk all about that, since it's apparently a real big thing. And we got space sci-fi questions that are sort of related, but not at all. This first one is from John Paul. Fuck, marry, or kill Jabba the Hutt, bisected Darth Maul, the Sarlacc, and or Horda-Vidian or Borg. I think that I'd marry Jabba the Hutt, since you liked Princess Leia in the slave outfit, and that's like a taste that I could sort of relate to, and I think that's a reason to marry a person. I'd fuck Darth. No, I'm not fucking Darth Maul. He's unfuckable. I'd fuck the Borg. I guess there's probably like a pretty one of those.
Okay, I can clarify. Yes, there is a Borg Empress, and she's pretty hot. So that's
Okay.
kind of like, you have a chance there if you want to fuck the Borg.
As the body parts don't get in the way too. Along with, and I don't think I can really kill Darth Maul if he's bisected, since he's already kind of dead. Unless he's like one of those lizards that can grow back their tail or head or something like that. What about you? Where do you stand?
Okay, it's gonna be fun because my order is actually the order in which they are listed. I would fuck Jabba the Hutt because he's my favorite character in Star Wars movies.
Really?
Yeah, I love the design. I love this. Like, I actually really like the prop they had, like the whole huge animatronic thing. Like, I would, if I was rich, I would probably have one at home. He's a big slimy thing. I don't know, like, I think that we could do stuff. I think Darth Maul is perfect candidate for marrying because he's bisected, like you said. So he is dead. So he can't really, like, there won't be.
For tax evasion.
No, like, there won't be any doubt. Like with the other two, if you marry them, like later along the way, you might realize that you are not compatible. Like, you have two different tastes. But Darth Maul is just dead, so he will just say nothing. Like, he will just keep him preserved somewhere in a fridge in your house. So that's like, there is no. It's a perfect win. Like, you can go wrong with that.
Yeah, but what would the neighbors think of your dead husband?
Shh. They don't have to know. They don't have to know. I don't think neighbors would want to talk to me after I tell them all about my sexual adventures with Jabba the Hutt. And yeah, I would kill Sarlacc. I'm not a big Star Trek guy, so I had to Google half of these
Star Wars.
half of these names. I had to Google. Sarlacc is for Star Wars, I'm pretty sure.
Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it's a big.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a big.
as in the sixth movie.
It's a big.
big
It's a big snake in the sand. I guess snake. I don't know.
The whole monster.
I would kill it. Doesn't seem fuckable or marryable to me.
And I don't know what the Porter or Vidian are, since I don't know space Star Trek. What is the best thing about John Carter from Mars? First of all, that movie was pretty cool, and I liked it. It's sort of one of those movies where you watched it when you're younger and liked it, then it's probably not good, and the consensus, it's like one of those movies where people generally don't like it, and so I don't really want to watch it and change my opinion. So in my mind, it's a good movie, and the best part was the stadium scene where he killed all those monsters in the stadium. That was like the really exciting part that they had in all the trailers, and was really into it when they finally got there.
Yeah, I'm confused a bit because you instantly jumped into a movie, which is good. I don't know if Raven actually means the book or the movie.
I'm assuming either, but I didn't read the book because it was so hard.
I read it. It's boring. I think it's one of those things like Lovecraft. Like, it created. It has a huge legacy in literature, but it's been done so many times better already that it doesn't hold up much anymore.
Yeah, like, they got cool covers and it sounds like it should be interesting, but when you get to it, it's thick as a brick and you can't get much out of it.
The best part was obviously the doggo.
Which thing?
The fast dog.
The fast dog? I don't remember that.
Oh my god, how can you not remember the dog?
The dog? The
Yeah,
dog?
like alien dog, like that saved him all the time. Like, it had a big mouth.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, like it's the best. It's probably my favorite like CGI cute animal from any movie ever. Like,
Oh! Yeah, I see it. I don't remember it anymore at all either. But yeah, sort of looks familiar. What do you prefer, hard sci-fi or hard science or hard fiction? I like my fiction malleable. Fiction is best when you can sculpt it into whatever you want. And I want my fiction in the shape of a mug.
I'm bad at science, so I will say hard fiction because I'm really bad at science.
Best space game and best space RPG. What is it?
It's a good question. I have been thinking about it for a long time. I want to say best space game probably Mass Effect 2. At least that's my favorite. Like, I think Best space RPG is definitely Knights of the Old Republic. Like no contest there. Uh, I can't like say that it's a best space game though. Like because I feel like to be a best space game you have to have like space travel and many planets, and Knights of the Republic doesn't really have that. Like it happens, it doesn't. You don't have control over it, as far as I can remember. So yeah, Mass Effect 2 for the win. I don't know. Like I know like people hate No Man's Sky. I haven't played it yet. But like if we say that space game is where you travel space and find planets, then No Man's Sky probably would be it. Like it depends what best space game means. Is the best space game is just the best game that just happens to have space, or does it have to like have space travel? So yeah, Mass Effect 2 for best space game and best space RPG is Knights of the Republic. What about you?
I don't know. I feel like it's up to us to answer it since we're the ones answering it. The best space game is Star Wars: The Complete Saga for Lego on Wii, since it had 6 levels per episode, as opposed to the DS version, which only had 5. And there was a ton of other material that they had, including like old episodes that they deleted. And they had the original Pod Racer level that you didn't play, which was way harder than the one that's really in the game. And they also had this, I think they had like lots more characters, and you could drive vehicles and AT&Ts and ATSTs while stomping on stormtroopers. And it was a heck of a lot more fun than the DS version. Space RPGs, I haven't played any RPGs at all, so I'll go with what you said, which was
Knights of the Old Republic.
Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic. Best Ass Effect butt. I looked it up and it looks like Miranda has a nice butt. I'm saying that one.
Okay.
Which one do you
I
like?
actually like Miranda's too. It's kind of funny because her butt is like all there is to her really as a character.
Oh, really?
Well, mostly like she has a kind of character, but I don't remember much about it. Like I don't know about the best butt. I know what was the biggest butt of Mass Effect.
Was that Miranda's butt?
No, the biggest butt was the ending of Mass Effect 3.
So what happened then? I haven't played any of those games. What was bad about that?
Oh, it was. It's hard to
Tell us, Greg.
kind of hard to explain. Like I have a slightly different perspective, and basically it was a game like about making many choices, and they make a really bad mistake of kind of like promising you that your choices will matter in later games. And when the series concludes,
Wait, how'd that work if like the game is self-contained in a way?
well, it's 3 games. So like in the first game, like you do a series of like decisions, and if you say like you have to save your save, and like you can transfer it into the next game when it comes out, and it like will slightly change some of the characters and their lines for you, like to like so they would be like, hey, remember you did that for me? In like
That's
even
interesting.
console versions, like I think in Mass Effect 2, like when it came out on PS3, you could actually like just play a small like comic book version of a game, of the first game, where you just would make quickly all the decisions if you didn't want to like play it and the whole thing. So
That's cool.
so yeah, like and they kind of never kept this promise, even like in the third part, which was the final one. So you had an ending where you basically like had 3 choices, and most like storylines were just unresolved completely. It was so bad, in fact, that there were theories about that it's basically like like the whole ending is a sort of illusion. Like people could not believe that it would be so bad intentionally.
Next question. What's your favorite Sith Lord? I love Darth, the Emperor. The Emperor is so cool, and he acts crazy, and everyone loves him. He's great. And I loved how in like episode 3, how he flipped and did like the who knows what dragon dive and stabbed Samuel L. Jackson. Who do you like most?
Same. Also Palpatine, I'm sorry.
There's no contest at all.
I also like not a fan of all the expanded universe stuff, so I won't say anyone like who appeared like in the games or books or whatever. Palpatine is the true Sith Lord for me.
Yep.
And what I especially like about him, even though like he is mad powerful, I like that he actually, the way he wins is by being smart. Like that's kind of rare. Like,
Yeah.
usually you have like just the biggest dude with the biggest dick who like just comes in and crushes everyone. Like it's nice to have a villain who is just smarter than anyone, like, who actually earned his victory and wasn't just born with the most testosterone.
Yeah, that's another point about it. James Earl Jones has like a super awesome voice, but that's James Earl Jones, not really Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And which alien has the best fashion sense? Do you have any ideas for that one?
I'd say Sovereign from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
The golden?
Yeah, the golden people.
The golden people.
Like have the
They're nice.
yeah, they're super hot and stuff.
I really liked Space Monk from Rogue One. He had a cool outfit.
But he's not technically an alien. Like I feel like the answer should be like a species.
But he was a long time ago. That's when he lived. And so they didn't have people a long time ago. And he counts. I think it counts.
I'm pretty.
For like a species.
I'm googling it. What was his name? Chirrut.
Chirrut.
Yeah, Chirrut. Star Wars.
I don't know. The Borg also have like a pretty cool aesthetic with the lights and the gray, and it's nice.
It says he's human, so your answer is humans then.
Yeah, we're so great.
Yeah, we're making Star Wars. We're so great.
And next is it true that low gravity makes your ass look amazing?
No. Like I feel like if you have a fat butt, then like in low gravity, it will become like wobbly, and it will look even grosser than it looked before. And if you have like a really tight, nice butt, then like it looks like it will be still tight and nice in low gravity because it's like so tight. So like, but it also looks nice in regular life. So like you can't lose either way with a nice butt. So no, my answer is no. Even though I have yet to be like in low gravity.
You'd have to tell me when you finally go to space. No, I can't confirm it. Who would you have to fight? Who would you have to fight the devil invasion of the Moon Men? I'd have like the leaders of countries to fight the Moon Men, since they represent Earth, for better or worse, and they're the ones that should do it. I don't have qualms with Moon Men. They didn't do nothing to me.
Okay, I have the perfect answer. We would have to ask for help the interdimensional gaseous beings from Rick and Morty. You remember? Like,
the the song guy.
Yeah.
The guy with the song.
They are so super powerful. We saw like what one can do, how much damage just one of them can do. An army of those would defeat Moon Men easily. We would make sure that Moon Men see the sun.
The last question that we have is, what is dirtier, a black hole or a brown? Calling a brown dwarf dirty doesn't sound too cool. I think a black hole is dirtier since it's got lots of dust in it.
I think brown dwarf. Because black hole is technically nothing. It's just a hole in time and space. Like it's not an object. Brown dwarf is like a space object. So it can't collect dirt. It can be dirty. Like it not only it can be dirty, it is the only thing that has the capacity to be dirty.
Valerian.
There is one more you missed.
There's one more? Which
What
one?
will
I didn't see
what
it.
will be built first? A space elevator or a Nazi moon base?
Nazis don't build things; they destroy things. They are the elevators being built first.
That's a good answer. I'm not even going to say anything myself because that was such a good answer.
Fuck Nazis. And onto Valerian for real now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, kinda. I have to do
Yeah.
a huge intro because Valerian is closely connected to a really cool subject that I wanted to discuss for longest time. So this is something that from my experience personally, many Americans and just people in the Western countries don't really know. But Europe, for the longest time, had its own big comic book scene, like comic book medium, which is kind of especially in modern times, it kind of gets overlooked. Most people don't know it really exists. But it did for the longest time. At first, those were Franco-Belgian comics, and they were usually there were strips published in magazines. Usually, they are called, and they'll probably call them that. They are known as BDs, which is abbreviation for bande dessinée, drawn strips in French. And it's a cool thing, it's a cool subject. What's interesting about it is that, well, first of all, style and their format. Most French comics, most bande dessinée are kind of like graphic novels. They are published in hardcover on a really nice paper, and they're usually self-contained. If you buy one, it's a complete story. So if American comics that are coming out usually each month are more TV series, bande dessinée is more a complete movie. What's also cool about them is that in Europe and France, there really, as far as I know, wasn't a big stigma against them. There wasn't the whole debate if comic books are art. They were pretty much accepted from the start. They were people who made them were pretty respected artists and animators, and they inspired lots of directors such as Ridley Scott or Alejandro Jodorowsky. And they also had less taboos. You can have a lot of sex in them, which is why a lot of them have pornographic and erotic elements. And they kind of had more violence. They were more free to discuss racism and heavy subject like that. And while that's cool, it's also a problem with them. Some of them have really gross stuff in them. They're usually really pretty. As a general standard for European comic books is to be pretty. As a downside, they have worse stories. If you compare American comics and French comics, French comics and European comics usually have much better artwork, but they have worse stories because Europe didn't have a storytelling the whole storytelling school that emerged in Hollywood with McKee or Campbell. And that's mostly it. I really love those comic books, and I hope people people will discover them more. If you want to get into them, you can write to me, DM me, or write on the forum, and I can give you some recommendations according to your tastes. In America, as far as I know, the best ways to get them are, well, first of all, Comixology. Humanoids Publishing House is probably the biggest one where you can buy those. And there is also a magazine called Heavy Metal that publishes a lot of those comic books in it. And that's mostly it. That's more it for BT comics. I don't know how much of that is usable, how much of that was interesting.
That's interesting. So, from what I've heard and know, they got Tintin, which is a comic that I really like.
Yeah,
That's from Belgium.
Tintin, Asterix is probably the most famous ones.
Yeah, Tintin, Asterix, and is Bone a European?
No, it's British, and it came out like it kind of technically would qualify as one, I think, because it was published differently. But I think it's still British, and like British, even though Britain is kind of like a part of Europe. Well,
It's a different style.
it's a different style. Yeah, like I mean, Alan Moore, like Grant Morrison, are also British, but they are considered like a part of American comic book scene, not European, because they did like more traditional, each like one issue per month, where like
That's interesting.
BD comics are more like just one complete graphic novel. Yeah, that's funny. Like they are more like graphic novels. So BD is also like it's another word to say it's not a comic book; it's a graphic novel. But I have to call them that for the distinction. I will just say European comics. It's fine. It's fine. And yeah, like one of them is Valerian, one of those comics books. Like it's not famous in US, but it was super big when it came out in Europe. And that kind of brings me to the story of how Valerian came to be, the movie. Luc Besson in the 90s was making Fifth Element. And like he hired a whole bunch of like European comic book artists for it. First of whom were like Méliès and Giraud, also known as Möbius. Hold on, I have to check those names. Yeah, Méliès, Jean-Claude Méliès, who drew Valerian and Valerien. And like they did most of the concept art for Fifth Element. And Fifth Element was already kind of heavily inspired by those comic books. So like somewhere in the process, like Méliès actually came up to Luc Besson and was like, listen, like you're like drawing so much inspiration from Valerian. Why don't you just make Valerian movie? Like why do you do this stupid thing Fifth Element? To which he like said like that no, like the technology is not there. Like the technology is not advanced enough to make Valerian happen. So many years later, like finally Avatar came out, and when Avatar came out, Luc Besson looked at it and said, "Yeah, now is the time. Now we can do it." He made this movie in an interesting way. He like raised all the money by himself. There is no big studio attached, so like that makes it the most expensive independent movie ever, and also the most expensive European movie ever. Yeah, I guess that's it. I will maybe like bring up more about the comic book as we speak about the movie. So now we can talk about the movie. I'm sorry for all this preamble.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, I apologize like mostly for just being so bored right now.
Didn't really know much about it. I saw Tintin like a couple weeks ago, and I think I really liked it. It exuded its like big strength is its creativity, and there's like a lot of stuff on screen, and it's dense, and it was good, and I liked it, and it had an interesting message and cool things.
Yeah,
and it was worth seeing in theaters.
I love this movie a lot, and it also has Andy Serkis, by the way.
Oh, really?
He was Captain. He was Captain Haddock.
Captain in Tintin? Captain Haddock?
Yeah.
Wait, but was he in Valerian? Is what?
No. We mentioned him when we talked about motion capture.
Yeah.
So this is another movie where he motion captures. That's not a word.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about Valerian. And you?
That wasn't about Valerian? I thought it was about Tintin.
I don't know.
You didn't make any transition. You started talking about Tintin, and then you said like.
I didn't say. What did I say about Tintin? I thought we were talking about Valerian.
You said Tintin.
I did. What? No. I said I saw Valerian in theaters. And Valerian was good
We
to
have
see in
it on
theaters.
recording. I will put it in here, like with rap music. Like I will make a remix of you saying that it's about saying Tintin.
I swear it was Valerian.
I'm so sure. Like I'm so sure.
I saw Tintin. I saw Tintin. I saw Tintin. I saw Tintin. 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 Tintin.
Okay, yeah, we both saw Valerian. You saw it earlier than me because the premiere in US was like what, 21st of July, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
July? No.
And I had to wait for it until 10th of August. So I saw it quite recently. It's still pretty fresh in my mind. And I saw it in IMAX 3D, which is the best way to see it. Yeah, and I want to say I loved it and I hated it, which is really funny and self-contradictory. But let me explain. It's what I call the best worst movie. It's a movie that has so much cool stuff. Like this is probably the biggest, like, best way to describe it. It has so much stuff in it. Like it has more stuff than like a lot of movies had like combined in the last several years. Like there's so much. It's complete creative madness on Luc Besson's part, and it's both. It brings him both to like cool, incredible stuff, and also to incredibly bad stuff. And the movie like had for me every kind of emotion. Like I felt every kind of emotion during the movie, where sometimes I was like, yes, this is amazing, I love it. And then I would be like, oh my god, why are you doing this? Please stop. And sometimes those two would be in the same scene together. Like this is such a movie where it just can switch on the flip of a dime. And I will explain as we go along what's so bad of it, so good. I will start from the like very beginning. It has the best opening. The first 4 minutes are like the best scene in the movie. It's not just the best thing. Those like 3-4 minutes are the best movie I've seen all year. Like if it was just that, like if it was just that in theaters, I would be happy. It's like shows this bright, optimistic future, and it has the best usage of Space Oddity by David Bowie ever.
Yeah.
I actually cried. Like it was so beautiful, I started crying because I just couldn't handle it. Like I just, so many movies, especially sci-fi, are so pessimistic right now. They never like show you the good future. Like most movies are now either dystopia, so like dark cyberpunk shit, which is not bad, but it's like I haven't seen anything like bright, optimistic future of Valerian in a while.
The most recent one I can sort of think is the Star Trek movie, but that's more like the franchise than the movie itself.
Star Trek, yeah, and I would say Martian. I heard The Martian is kind of optimistic.
Yeah, I heard that movie, but I didn't really see it since the screen projector were kind of crap. And it sounded like a fun, kind of good movie. Like surviving on Mars.
Yeah, what's funny is that after this great opening, some of you, like some of people who are watching it, like they can leave pretty much because this beautiful, well shot, like brilliantly paced, interesting like opening. This is how like Besson opens one of the dumbest sci-fi movies ever made. In the dumbest in the best way. Like he opens this with this almost Kubrickian style scene. Such a dumb movie. And it's kind of great. Like I love the audacity he has for it. Like he has no sense of like how to do tone.
When you were like talking about the great opening, did you mean the part, the overview of like how they got to Alpha, and including the part where the planet exploded, or is that just the first part?
Only
does it
only
end?
about the Alpha. Only about Alpha.
Oh, I think
You mean with the aliens?
yeah, with the aliens, because they didn't speak and it was all visual.
It was kind.
Not like that.
It was kind of nice, but I couldn't stop just feeling smug about it. Like the whole scene, I was thinking like, oh boy, it's so nice to live. Life is so much. I hope nothing terrible happens in the next couple of minutes. Like it was so quiet and peaceful that you just knew something bad is going to happen. So you kind of like automatically I kind of switch myself to thinking, to just kind of not caring.
I think we like watch movies differently. Bringing it back to word funk based things, I think that Leon said he watches it and just sort of follows along, trying to tear it to maybe to pieces actively. Whereas Austin couldn't help thinking about how Moana was written. When would they add this comic relief character, and how would that play out later? In like the worst part of way to watch movie.
Well, the problem is like it depends on the movie. Like when the movie is really good, you stop noticing those things. Like and when it's for me at least like, and when like you're not so sad that interested like and you're bored, you just can't stop thinking about how the movie works. Like that's how my brain functions. Like when I'm thinking about how the plot structure works and like where's the next element gonna be, that means I'm not that interested in the characters like and their struggles.
It was interesting since it was like very clearly a mess, and kind of thinking back now, it wasn't too clear and it could have been a hell of a lot cleaner and tighter, and the screenplay could have been redone 10 times over.
What are you talking about right now?
But like the movie as a whole, and what we were saying, and like it could have been better, but like in the moment I thought it was all right, and so I guess they pulled one over on me in that regard. Not really.
I will say more about those aliens later. I was going to talk about how bland the main actors are, so if you want to...
Yeah, get on to that.
Oh, well, that kind of speaks for itself. The main actors are bland. Like, from the start it was kind of obvious that they're both terribly miscast, which at first was kind of weird to me. They don't look like the characters from the comics at all.
Having the book right here, Loreline had red hair, and that was clearly not the case in the movie. The movie can go die for that.
Like, they're both clearly adults in the comic. Like, Loreline looks kind of youngish, okay, but Valerian like is clearly like a young Timothy Dalton or young Sean Connery. Like, he's clearly like in his early like 30s. Where in the movie they both like both of them look like the kids I would see on my college campus. I look older than them. Like they look so young, and at first I kind of like didn't get it. When I watched like some of the interviews with Luc Besson, I think I'm starting to understand what he meant by it. He said that when he read the comics, he felt like they are the modern couple, like not a traditional like nuclear couple, but like something more modern, hippie, and interesting. So I feel like he tried to make them update that image for modern audiences. So he kind of tried to make them millennials. He didn't do it too well. Like they're so smug and sarcastic and cynical all the time. But I at least kind of think that this is what he was trying to do. But yeah, they're terribly bland. Like it's not just that they're miscast. Both parts are pretty badly written. Like we don't really learn much about them. It's kind of hard to care when you don't know much about your characters.
They got like a pretty cliched sort of relationship.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Not just cliched, I would call it actually pretty disgusting and sexist. Like Valerian is an asshole. Like he's like irresponsible. Like he doesn't like follow instructions. Like he could sabotage all this mission potentially, and he kind of did in the end. But it wasn't his fault. But I really hate it when the movies have a irresponsible character who like breaks all the rules, and he is still shown to be the good guy. I hate it, and yeah, the way he treats her is terrible. Like he's just an awful sexist cliche. He's so outdated. I they slightly made me like Laureline more because the whole movie she was kind of like rolling her eyes at this guy. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm with you there, sister. But she was also bland. Like I also like started hating her when she like was okay with threatening 3 aliens with a gun for information. Like 3 innocent aliens. Like both of them are kind of assholes this way. Like they don't care about anything about but themselves really. Like at some point, it's jumping up ahead in the movie. We're probably gonna spoil a lot of it, by the way, like because the plot doesn't matter. The plot isn't like interesting in this movie, so don't worry. Like if you're,
it's a maze.
Yeah, this is not a movie where you want to get afraid. You're afraid to be spoiled. So anyway, like later in the movie, like she gets kidnapped. He like is going to follow, but then he sees like that she's like in those aliens lair. And he's like, oh no, I can't go there because I will like break the like this will be like
international
law.
Law.
Like I'm breaking the international law,
space law.
But then he does it later anyway and kills like half of them in there, and nobody ever like discusses it. So okay, I guess.
But he's a police officer, and that satire, that's the excuse.
It made me feel bad. Like I really hate all the like abuses of power in movies. Like they just say a lot about how we view police and like force in general. Yeah, so they were boring. It's so funny how boring they are. Everyone else like gets way more characterization.
You know what? No. Now that I think about it, I think that the general or the person that wasn't the head of command, the head of Valerian and Laureline, he had the coolest fashion sense. There was like medals to the next degree.
I found it to be really funny.
He just had like he had this cool breastplate.
It's so weird how bland they are because everyone else, like, and I mean everyone, gets more characterization than these guys. Like at the start of the movie, like they have this team of soldiers who are basically there just to die, and one of them like also flirts with Laureline. This guy has more chemistry with her than Valerian does in that moment. I liked him way more than I liked Valerian. And he was just there for a couple of minutes to shoot a gun and then die. Like everyone else is more interesting. Everyone wears like a weird suit and like has weird mannerisms, weird name. Like you have an alien like in the background who is like more interesting than both of our main characters. It's so weird. Like I almost think it's intentional. Like he tried to make his world and aliens stand out by making his main character so boring. Like, that's my theory. It's not a good excuse, but I feel like it might be the excuse he had in his mind.
What he's like trying to say about sci-fi or at all. But yeah, when they first talk and are like on the bench in the hologram room, it sure seemed like the director was trying to say they have chemistry. See, they're saying stuff and they have chemistry. It didn't really go much farther than that. They kind of like dropped the act after that.
I watched this movie with my mother. Like I took her she took me to the movies. Yeah, and like she from the start she hated Valerian and she hated like how he treats her, and like she was groaning and almost all his pickup lines. So like just a few minutes later, when the first chase scene ended, like Valerian said like, "Oh, my dress! Like this monster ruined my dress." And my mom turned to me and she said, "I don't like the movie already." And I was kind of like, "Yeah, like I like it, but I get where you're coming from."
I feel like at the end they shouldn't really have gotten together.
Oh no, yeah, not at all. It didn't feel like him. Like they tried to give him an arc, like he's growing. But it didn't feel like he grew. Like it felt like he figured out how to get in her panties. So he just said whatever, like, that will get him there. Like, it didn't feel genuine to me. And I like this actor, by the way. I like Din Han a lot.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked him a lot more than in maybe.
Like, so that's a character. That's like the way he was written. That's not the actor. I guess that. And the next thing I have, okay, and this is gonna be big. This is gonna be my biggest SJW moment so far. So I'm sorry in advance. Like, everyone knows, like, I'm bleeding heart, but I felt like the movie was super icky in terms of like racial representation.
How so?
Well, it's especially apparent because it tries to be like super progressive and have like progressive message about all those, like, about multiculturalism and like the abuse of power, and that's good. Like, it has good intentions. I will give it that, but it's incredibly misguided. And because okay, how do I approach it best? The whole movie, like, we are supposed to sympathize with those nice aliens. Do you remember how they were called? So I wouldn't call them aliens, hold it.
No idea.
Fuck. Okay, like, okay, well, those like nice white-looking, like super white-looking aliens, which are kind of like their culture. For me, at least, I felt like they were heavily inspired by African tribes, but that's just my theory. I'm not sure. Like, somebody who knows more about African tribes may say more on the matter.
No, like real glassy blue skin, and like from my account, I didn't see. I thought it was like, contrary to what you said, I thought it was kind of cool how they didn't look like an Aboriginal tribe that I recognized. So it was like truly alien in my eyes. But go on, keep on.
So yeah, we're supposed to like them because they're like nice and peaceful, and they're like evolving, learning new stuff, and we're supposed to like them and sympathize with the struggles. But everyone else is fucked. Everyone else can go fuck themselves, because for the whole movie they're threatening and killing all other aliens with no remorse whatsoever. And like, this message of like, be nice to like tribal people, like people of other cultures, it falls so flat on its face when Valerian is nice to one aliens, those like big white aliens, but when some other big, even bigger, like troll-looking aliens kidnap Laureline, he has no problem barging in and killing the leader and killing like his like whole guard, and that's kind of like the triple contradiction of a movie. And also, like, even like the people, the humans, all of them were kind of like, when they were like some certain race or culture, they were like just one-dimensional stereotypes. There weren't many of them, but they were there. Like, there was this guy with like, Indian, I guess, influences in like the market. And okay, the part that icked me the most is that not only like we're supposed that about those aliens, is that the only aliens we're supposed to sympathize with are super white, while all bad aliens have darker skin. I'm sorry, like, call me an SGW on this, call me a snowflake, but once I noticed it, I couldn't get it out of my head. Like, it's not, like, I'm not saying it's intentional, I'm not saying like Luc Besson is super racist, or whoever did concept art is super racist. It's just like a subconscious thing that kind of like says a lot about how we perceive the world, for me. And that's my biggest problem with the movie. Like, I felt so icky.
I kind of thought that they had like more the skin color that the main alien tribe had was more bluish than like white. But I guess I could see how you see it. And like, maybe if other people don't really dig into it, they won't see shitty elements of the movie. They'll just think, oh, it's an anti-imperialist movie, and leave it at that. I don't really remember what the other aliens like that gangster looked like. He just looked kind of monstrous-ish, and wasn't he orange? I thought he was like orange and sort of.
Well, he was still darker. He was still darker skin. Like, okay, like that's not like my biggest problem. My biggest problem is that it's just that the contradiction of like being anti-imperialism and still having like those super imperialist abusing power main characters. That's my biggest problem. Like, I was just saying that about the color, like an icing on the cake.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's my biggest problem. Like, I have like smaller ones. Like, the story is pretty dumb. Like I said, the moment when he says like, "Oh no, I can't go in there," but he still does. There are like small moments like that all over the movie. Like when they do something, like when he goes to meet Rihanna in that club. I legit didn't know why he's doing that. Like I was like, wait, why are we here?
That was like a good
And-
scene, and it came back, and Brianna's character was good. So
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Like it's clear that like Luc Besson had the idea for the scene first, and then wondered how to bring the character there. Like it didn't guide the story there naturally. The plot basically, here's the funny part. The plot basically disappears from a movie for like half of it. Like first Valerian disappears, and then like Laureline, to save him, goes just on a series of hijinks, adventures, meeting weird characters just to get to him. And then she gets kidnapped, and he goes on a series of adventures just to get her back. And then they're like, okay, now we're back. Let's find the real plot of the movie. Like that was my joke. Like when they went into this cave, I was like, hey, maybe we will find the plot here. But that was so dumb, I almost liked it. Because like I said, they are boring, so any chance we have like to get to know other characters better, the better. So like, yeah, lose the plot.
Yeah.
Lose the plot completely. Fuck the plot.
what else? What else about that?
Well, we
movie?
can talk about nice things, finally.
Yeah, the nice things.
Because there were plenty. It's so
Lots of.
pretty. It's one of the prettiest movies
it's
I've
great.
ever seen. Like, it's super expensive, obviously, but holy crap, was it beautiful. Like, the CGI, like, wasn't revolutionary or anything. Like, I wouldn't like, oh yeah, I believe that all those aliens are real. But it was, like, believable enough. And there was, like, just so many cool, interesting designs, so much fantasy on display. It was... I couldn't believe it, honestly. I never thought I was going to see so many aliens in one live-action movie. Like in cartoons, like it's like animated, 2D animated, like spirited away. Like you can have all kinds of aliens because you can just draw them. But here, wow, was it good.
There's very few trauma. That's like the best way to describe it. I think. Like it's got good parts and bad parts, and it's a wonderful sci-fi location, all sorts of aliens, and it's Futurama. It's pretty funny. That's the other
Like
part.
Futurama, it's more like just a wacky adventure rather than hard sci-fi. It's like how many cool, interesting sci-fi concepts we can fit in one movie, and there's a lot. Like the opening action scene on the market, holy crap! Like it has more cool sci-fi ideas than like most sci-fi movies of the last 10 years. All the stuff they do with this augmented reality, it's like something that I wanted to see in Matrix and never saw. Like it's just opening scene. Like they burn through a million ideas by like every minute of the movie, and it's great. It's great, but it's also like it's sometimes bad. Just not sometimes, only like a few times, you know.
Do you think that, like, as an allegory for imperialism, that movie is revisionist at all? Right? Like, instead of war criminals, like imperialists, not paying for crap in this movie, they were held for her actions. Do you think that's like revisionist at all? Like, as opposed to how it happened in Europe and over the world, throughout the world? Or am I just talking out my butt here?
Kinda, it's not really like it's not new. I would say it's less revisionist. It's in more like a fantasy, like a more like a leftist fantasy of like like redeeming the sins, the sins of your ancestors, kind of. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Like it's a whole thing. I was actually, for me, what's funny, at like the main villain Clive Owen, he has a monologue in the end, like where he explains why they can't like just go and confess their crimes. And when he was talking about it, he mentioned sanctions. Like we will get so many sanctions like on us. And I just couldn't help but think that he's Vladimir Putin. Because the whole thing really reminded me of what kind of trouble we are in right now in Ukraine. Like it was so funny. My mom actually also like found it really cool and funny.
I don't remember. Did he die?
No, they like tied him up, and like it's kind of dumb because like there is no way he could survive. They tied him up like right near this ship as it was flying away, so there is no way he would not get blasted by their engines.
Ha! Good. Take that.
But he survives.
No.
Like
He should have died. He should have died.
I mean, they punched him a bunch, so.
I don't like that guy. I like Putin. He's a jerk.
Oh yeah, he's a giant jerk. I'm like struggling. I love this movie. I struggling to find ways to like, after I shitted on it so much, I'm struggling finding ways to like say more nice things about it.
Yeah. It's like a trouble with talking in movies, since like it seems much easier to talk about how movies crap than not.
Yeah, like okay, aside from like main leads, all actors were great in my opinion. Almost all. Like some of them were like super wacky. Like there is Ethan Hawke.
He was great.
Yeah, he was
funny.
I just think like Ethan Hawke just came out on the set and did whatever. Like it doesn't seem like a performance. Like he was just, I'm gonna have fun. Like I'm gonna wear a stupid hat and stupid glasses and stupid suit and I'm gonna play on piano. Like Rihanna was surprisingly nice. Like she was, I wouldn't say like, wow, Rihanna is a star, but like she was good for the part she was. John Goodman was
As who?
the big fat alien.
Big fat alien.
Who like,
you like a lot of big fat aliens.
well, the gangster one in the bean at the market.
Oh.
That was John Goodman.
I think I dare say that Rihanna was my favorite character out of all of it.
Yeah, like her.
Yeah. I was sad that she died.
Her death is probably another like, oh yeah, it's a moment. It's such a stupid moment because there is no reason for her to die. Like
No.
it's not even freaking. Like they don't achieve anything by killing her. The only reason she dies, and that's funny once I realize it, they die so that Valerian wouldn't have to deal with her shit later. Like so that he wouldn't have to like go and like get her like a citizenship and stuff.
That would have been that's lame. Should have like followed up with that. She should have been the main character.
Pretty much anyone in this movie, like any other character, should have been the main character except for those two. Like anyone, literally anyone could be better fit. Who else was like good actor in it? Like the guy who like the Bob the Pirate. Bob the Pirate was awesome.
Bob the Pirate?
Yeah, the guy with the submarine.
Oh, yeah.
He's a funny fact.
He's a weirdo.
This is the director of the second Asterix movie.
Asterix movie?
Yeah, Asterix and Cleopatra. Or like Mission Cleopatra. That's...
The comic Asterix?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was a movie of
Oh
that.
yeah, they made a movie. Like they have 4 movies right now in this live action movies. Like with like...
Was it like a European movie?
It's a French movie. It's actually like... Second movie is one of the most successful French movies ever. Like it makes so much money when it came.
No wonder I've never heard of it.
Yeah, listen, this is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like the second one, Asterix, Mission Cleopatra. It's great. Like I love it. Watch it. Like everyone who listens to it. If you haven't seen it, watch the second Asterix movie. And then
I'm gonna write it down.
And then watch Valerian and see the director of this movie in it playing a crazy pirate. I love the pirate. Like, he was so good. Yeah, like everything about it, like it's crazy. It's a crazy movie. I'm sorry for using that word, like if it's like sensitive subject for anyone, but it has lots of great moments. It has lots of bad moments. But what I appreciate above all is that it's so creative. It's pure. Like you watch it and you feel that it's pure creative freedom. Like nobody constrained, like held down Luc Besson in any way. He made exactly the movie he wanted, and that's so rare in these times. Like it's this movie is like going insane, but it's so great. Like it's an experience. So I recommend seeing it in theaters, especially because it's so pretty. Like you won't get another chance probably. Like it doesn't do well at the box office right now.
The other aliens that I liked were the Thompson and Thompson aliens. The three little Watto aliens.
Yeah, they were great. What's funny about them is that they don't introduce them at all. Like they
just wander on.
Yeah, they're just there, and this was the moment where I kind of thought to myself that maybe Luc Besson expects us to read the comics because they are from the comics.
Oh, so it's not? Is it at all a nod to the Tintin, Thompson and Thompson?
No, I don't know. Maybe
are they all connected?
No, probably
because they seem sort of familiar how they like finish each other's sentences and stuff.
I think it's like a stereotype. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's just my impression. Like I think I dig my grave deep enough already. I don't want to get into it more.
I kind of also feel that if you like look for problems of like the race and other things in movies, that you can sort of just find them if you dig deep enough. But I guess it's like a different hole to go down.
I was looking for them, Sarah. Like I waited for this movie for so long. I just went in and I tried like to go along with the flow as much as possible. Like it came to me. I couldn't like it just happened in the movie. Like all these problems are there. Like I still love it. Maybe I actually love it even more because it's just such a nice thing to love a movie while still recognizing all of these problems. Like it's such a rare feeling. Usually like movies, when you discuss movies, it's more black and white.
The other thing that I had and I thought about like after the movie was, after I saw it, I decided that I want to get the comic book and read that and see what it was based on. And I wasn't able to find it anywhere. It wasn't at any of the stores in Harvard Center, and it wasn't like at any of the other places or like at the other library. But I went into Waltham and they had it there, and so I got it Friday. And like I was even like dreaming about getting the book, and I dreamed about getting issues 1, 10, and 11. Even though it turns out, apparently, as he said, that they don't have comic book issues like American comics. And there's this other dream where I acquired Valerian and Laureline as the concept, not really the book, but just the idea of them. And I had it at that point as well. But now I got it for real. The book's big. It's like a big book.
Yeah, like I said, it's a graphic novel. Like it's finished, but it's finished. It's a whole story. So
I mean, it's like a large book, like the Tintin books that are pretty big.
So did you read it?
I started it, and it feels like a heck of a lot like Tintin.
Huh.
It's that sort of vague, similar vein of stories. Like the art is kind of similar.
Okay.
And they do that thing where they don't color in the whites of the eyes, and I find that kind of weird. I don't like that. Do they have that in other Euro comics? One of the things I noticed about the art style is that they don't really color in the inside, the whites of the eyes. They're just left skin colored. Is that a common thing?
Not really. I mean, like there isn't really a common style there. From artist to artist, style changes a lot.
Because yeah, oh, there it is in Coraline has white eyes, but Valerian doesn't seem to. It kind of bugs me.
Yeah. The comics are actually like not great. They, like I said, like this, they have a story problem. Like they all feel like an interesting idea that is underexplored, not explored in depth enough. Like there is an act missing almost. So like I was kind of like happy that it got made into a movie, because like anything they do to this material will make it better. Basically, like any addition like will be good.
But they kind of made it like the comic by having a million ideas and only grazing into them just barely.
They still like kind of like they explored them better than in the comics book.
In a different way, that is.
They did better than the comic book still. Like I feel like there was more clearer picture. Like I don't like Valerian too much. I tried reading it. Like it's like the art style is okay. The writing is mediocre. Like it's kind of boring to me. I like a lot of other like different sci-fi comics better. Like I like Inkall better. Like or Meta Barons. Those kind of comics. Those are my jams. That's it for Valerian, I guess. It's kind of sad that it doesn't seem to. It seems like it's bombing financially. Like it's not a success.
How's it doing?
Hmm?
Let me check how is it doing. Anyway, continue.
I mean, like it doesn't do good in US. What's kind of interesting is that, of course, it's a European movie, so like international box office is for them way more important. What's kind of interesting is that it hasn't opened in China yet, and it has a chance to make its money back there, I think, because they had a huge marketing campaign there, and they had Chris Wu in the movie, like one of the Chinese guy, the Asian guy, and Chris Wu is super famous in China. Like he is like one of the top grossing stars there.
Wasn't that person like one of the commanders?
Yeah, he was Captain something. That was his name, Captain something.
Captain Neza, they say.
Yeah, Captain Neza. Hey, you remember it? Cool. I didn't remember this.
I cheated.
Like I don't remember him. I remember like Bob the Pirate and stuff. But yeah.
You like shot a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were cool robots. I liked them.
They were practical, by the way.
I like something too.
Oh no. It's the parents.
I guess we're going to go. I'll see you later. Bye.
Well, this was abrupt. Like I'm looking at the camera right now. There is no camera, but this was abrupt. I don't know how to finish it. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I know you finished. No, I didn't. I intentionally keep it on. Like I want to do a stream of consciousness. Yeah. Okay, like I will stop now.